Okay, we're back. We're talking about the art of blitzing, and you'll find that in the book, Taking Action, because we can talk all day long, but at one point we got to take action. And what is blitzing? Blitzing is really the art of finding deals. You understand? Before anybody else can get to them, the art of finding deals. So let's get started. We'll find out here on page 3, banks. Banks is a wonderful source for blitzing because REOs, which is real estate owned, which means the bank has acquired the property back usually through foreclosure, and they own the asset and they want to sell it. Now, sometimes, of course, they get it without foreclosure. It may be a surplus property, but it's still real estate owned that they are selling. They normally don't sell the properties directly. They normally hire a broker, and they'll tell you whatever broker is that they are dealing with. But one of the interesting things, though, is that if you're a real estate broker, you could become a broker. And to take and get a listing on a property with a commission laid out is a way of controlling the property, by the way. Banks is still a great source. They're still loaded up with properties. And all of the banks also have properties they will literally give away, or they will pay you to take it. In other words, they will donate the property to a nonprofit and pay a commission. That means they will pay you to take the property. If you want to do that, you need to form a nonprofit yourself and just go to EZ Forms. Type it into computer. You could form a nonprofit in one day without paying a lawyer $2,500. And now you have a nonprofit entity that you can negotiate with. If you're going to be blitzing, it's very, very important to have a nonprofit too, because you can offer gift sales. They'll gift you 20% of the property and sell you 80%. Now, is that important? If it's a LLC, it's very important. They'll give you 20% of their membership interest in the LLC. That will allow you to go to the bank as a borrower and not a buyer. That would allow you to buy the property without having put money down. But we'll cover that a little bit later. But make sure if you're going to form an entity to acquire property, that it has the right purpose also. For an example, it has to have the right language. A nonprofit should say that the purpose should be to facilitate affordable housing. That's a lot different than, say, to develop and all of the housing and all of this, because here's the big difference. If you're facilitating affordable housing, you can literally acquire a property for $50,000 and turn around and sell it for $1,000. That's your purpose, to facilitate affordable housing. So you don't have to make a profit on every deal. Whereas if that's not your main purpose, you give someone a $100,000 tax benefit for a donation, you turn around and sell it for $40,000. Well, that could raise some questions. If it was worth $100,000, why did you sell it for $40,000? You are endangering the donor at that point. So make sure you set it up right. Banks will literally, once again, give you the houses. They will give them to you. This is important. Property tax foreclosures are absolutely fabulous. You understand? Now, it oftentimes may not be so great for the person losing a home, and sometimes it is good for them losing a home, because today, what most people don't know is that banks are fully reimbursed. If banks are fully reimbursed, then they don't care what they sell the property for. That's why in many of the foreclosures, they'll go for $100, $1,000, 10% on the dollar. Right now in Detroit, for example, almost all foreclosures are going for under 50% of the mortgage. The truth of it is they're going for well under 25% of the mortgage on the average, unless it's a very, very low mortgage. Certainly about 25% of what we believe the value should be. So it's a wonderful place to blitz. In Detroit, it's the City County building on the 13th floor every Thursday at 10 o'clock. Find out from your city what county, where the county auctions are at. It's usually handled on a county level and not on a city level. Now, the property tax foreclosure, of course, is once a year. And once a year, you can, which is usually in September and October, you can bid. In Wayne County, we've had the largest property tax auction in the world. We call it the Super Bowl. Right now, because of the demand in the city of Detroit, that's drying up right now, and we're now averaging out, but we can still get good properties. Now, let us also consider for sale by owner. for sale by owner is good. And FSOB, the website for sale by owner, F for sale by owner, FSB. Oh, I think that's how we said, okay? Just get a hold of the owners and talk to them directly. Many of them want to save the commission, but they may misprice their home in many cases. And the good thing about it, if you can get a property that have not been listed yet, it's the very best possible way. So you can get that by going to for sale by homeowners or just cruising, finding something you like, finding out who own it, and negotiating with them. It's easy. Just if there's something boarded up, something vacant, you see a lot of paper on the stairs, and it's vacant. Now, in many communities, they try to protect that by keeping the grass cut. That's good news. You got good neighbors. But a keen eye can figure out if a property is vacant or not. There may be a couple of newspapers, like I said, on the door, on the porch, but the grass is otherwise cut. Take a look for that. What's the big advantage of getting a property that's not been listed? You can price the property so that you can have seller concessions. If you're going to leverage real estate, here's what you want to do. You want the seller to give you back credits that are acceptable. Now, we'll show you how to do this so it's not obvious and that you can do it and not get rejected from the mortgage company. So just keep on reading on this, but the ideal is that you do not want a property that is listed because that's the highest price it's going to go for. How are you going to find a property that's $40,000, that's listed for 40, you think is worth 90, you want to raise it to 50 and get 10 back, and it's listed for 40. They say, how are you going to get 50 and it's only listed for 40? But how about if you found that for sale by owner, or if you call somebody up, they say, look, I'd like to get 40,000. Then you can create it how you want. You can make it worth 60 and get 20 back. How do you get cash back? We're gonna cover that very, very thoroughly. But some of you are so anxious to get going. You know, you cannot, everything in Michigan has to be in writing. The statute of fraud said if it's not in writing, it's not enforceable. So whatever is in writing is what you really have here. And whenever you turn in a mortgage application, you got to tell the truth on everything. So if you turn in a mortgage application and you are going to get money back, then it's not enforceable that you're going to necessarily get that money back. And in fact, you might not. But there is where you're going to roll the dice a little bit. And we'll get into the details on that. Just keep on reading. The main thing is when you're tying property up, make sure that you can try to get it before it hit multi-list. Now, multi-list, yes, it is a great place to take and buy property too. The problem is that people buy it and they want to look at it and inspect it, kick the wheels. Don't do it. If a property comes out at 8:30 in the morning, what time do you want to put your property, your purchase agreement in? You're right, 8:31. Put your offer in immediately. You can inspect the property without leaving your home. You can simply pull it up on Google, look at it, put the offer in. Now, of course, you want to put it in areas that you already are familiar with, those that you've rode by and you understand. And in your purchase agreement, don't forget you're going to have an inspection period. Be the first to put the offer in. Do not do what everybody else does that have not taken my class. You're with Strather Academy, and we'll show you how to leverage the deals and to be the first. Be the first to submit the offer on, have your proof of funds ready to take that property down so by 12 o'clock the property is sold. Now, that don't mean the seller is going to take it because maybe there's a few more offers coming in and they get second thoughts and they want to do a little negotiation, but your chances are best if you're the first one to submit an offer. There's a lot of great websites. You can read them in the book. Trulia, Zillow, LoopNet, Craigslist, Realtors, CoStar, Google Map, Fannie Mae, HUD, all of these. If you're going to go with LoopNet, for example, there is a premium application. It gives you an advantage. You may want to consider those. There's also retail auction sites such as 10X. That's auction.com, for example. That's their commercial piece, or auction.com, or buildingdetroit.org. Just type in real estate auction sites and you'll get them loaded up. You know, today underwriting is so easy because you can just type it into the computer and get what you want. Certainly word of mouth is strong. Social media, put it up there what you're doing. Let everybody know that you're buying real estate. You can take and make a lot of small little cards. We buy real estate. post those on certain places throughout the community. Now, I shouldn't tell you to put them on light posts, but it's well done. But you can put them there at stop signs. Make sure that it's where somebody stop and they can look and read and write the number down. Churches, like I said, social media is huge. Newspapers, always check out the newspapers. We used to do that on Sundays, and Wall Street Journal Friday edition used to be the hottest thing there was. It has cooled off a lot now, but it's still available. So your newspapers on Sunday, Wall Street Journals on Fridays, but at the top of the game is social media. Make sure that you get to the assets, get to the properties before they are listed. And if they are listed and have been listed a long time and have not sold, then that's another approach. That means they're fixed to lower the price. So get to them. Expired listings that didn't sell, get to them. That was the price. You can get to them, and you may say, look, we're willing to buy it at that price, but we want to sell a concession for the amount of what the real estate should be. For example, if it's $75,000, they're going to relist it at $60,000. You want to sell a concession of $15,000. Read on. We're going to talk about the seller concessions and how to get them and how to finance them without going to jail, without breaking any laws. You may break a few policies, but no laws. Okay, this is Herb Strather, and we're going to get into the real estate x-ray in just a few minutes. So take a break and come back shortly.